March 25, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It almost looked like there was a big choppy few legs up, then two big choppy legs down. Then it looks like it was two choppy legs back up and then back down. So it was just pretty much a sideways day. Didn't really go anywhere. Similar to yesterday, which it was just kind of a mess. There was this big rally at the end, and then today was just kind of choppy. The volume was so-so. I saw a total of maybe 3 setups. This one here, and I actually took one, which was a higher low right here. And then there was maybe some almost setups, and I'll get into the trades right now. There's no economic data that came out to really move the markets. So pre-market in the overnight, I think a lot of things were said, most likely having to do with Iran. And so it was just very, very choppy. I didn't even try to decipher this at the time. Well, actually, at the time, meaning right before the market opened, I just noticed all this happening. But I did establish that this is probably the pre-market high and the pre-market low. And for the most part, prices did stay and obey within this range. There was this big excursion here, but it kind of moved back in and for the most part stayed within this big gray range. Okay, so in the pre-market, it looks like it was a spike and then a shallow channel up. Had pretty decent confirmations here. Localized high, it's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. You got a higher low here, but it's on the first minute, and I don't really want to trade something like that. Pushes all the way up, makes a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback. Looks like there's a second entry long here, maybe a higher low. So I actually could say it's a first entry, pullback, second entry. Even though I said it's a higher low, it could probably be argued as a second entry long. But in order to take the trade like this, you'd have to enter it on the engulfing. If you waited toward the end, it feels like it's too late. And even if you did take me on the engulfing, I'm going for 6 ticks. There's just barely enough room to assure yourself that you're actually going to be able to scalp out. So it hits a not pre-market, hits a localized high. This is the high of day at the time. Becomes a first entry long, pull back. You get a second entry long way down here, but it's too far from the trade now, too far from the setup, too far from the EMA, and you'd be going counter trend. So it looked like it was prices moving down on this purple down channel. Localized low, first entry short, second entry short, bad signal bar. I'm skipping it. I'm expecting the test of this purple down channel is going to make a low. It does. So it creates this localized low. First entry short, pullback, second entry short. Unfortunately, this is an inside bar. So it never really spiked and peaked above here. So I'm skipping that. Pushes down, breaks out of the pre-market range. But at the time, there's only really one touch here. So it's hard to really know if prices are going to continue down or when it starts reversing, if this is actually going to be where the range should be established. So that pushes up. Creates a first entry short, second entry short. This runs into the same problem as this, the inside bar. Then it doesn't even give you a lower high. Actually, this one spikes up above this guy, so no trades here. Localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, bad signal bar. Initially, I thought this was the channel I was trading because it looked like it was one touch. Confirmations here look pretty good. And by the time it starts pressing here, so it's like let me just go through this one setup. Localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I really wanted this to be a green bar because this looked like it would have been a possible trade, but unfortunately it never quite got there because it's a red bar. And at the time, as I said, I was playing this blue channel because it looked like it fit pretty well. If this had only touched here and closed green, then I think that would have been a trade for me. It starts pushing up, and as I noticed, it's failing to hit the high. So it breaks out of this blue. I'm expecting it to test the high. It keeps going up, and when it gets down to here, I'm thinking this blue channel might not actually be the right one. So instead of having these confirmations here, I'm going to go ahead and make this transparent. I turned it into this yellow up channel. So I had one touch, two touch, three touch, and it actually fits the high side a lot better than the previous one where it was clear. So as it moves up, creates a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long pullback, gives you the higher low. And this is actually where I take my one and only trade because I like that there was a bounce off this yellow up channel support. I also like there was a first entry, second entry, although this is an inside bar, and actually it's not an inside bar, excuse me, I take that back. Pushing him up, It pushes down, bounces off, and it closed really strongly. And I thought there's enough room to get out for my 6 tick scalp before any kind of potential resistance area. So this is my 6 ticks right here. So I entered. So I did what I said I was going to do. I put in a stop limit order, waited for this to close, dragged it down, pretty much had it here floating. And then when it looked good, I hit the mouse button and it entered me right here. Pushes down, pushes back up, and gives the 6 tick scalp. No runner. And I was just like, okay, that's great. Let's not tempt fate. Then prices move to the high, comes back down. Technically, you have a first entry. Second entry, it's a bad signal bar. Follow through is pretty nice, but now it has a break of this yellow up channel now. So I'm just a little more cautious. Pushes up. It's failing to hit the other side now. So it looks like momentum is slowing down. It starts moving sideways. I mean, you could find second entries in here, but it's just too congested for me. So I thought it might have been in a range here, but I wasn't really that confident in it. If prices continue to chop sideways, then this range would be more valid. Starts moving down this blue down channel, break, test the low, and as it keeps going, that's where I abandoned this blue down channel and established this orange down channel. And at one time, I did try to have it touch here, but it runs into, excuse me, it runs into the same issue. Apologize for that. Probably I was clearing my throat. So if you had, so I was playing this channel. I'm just kind of flashing through right now, but it ran into the same issue where there's a break and a continuation downwards. So that's where I established this orange down channel. Break to the low side, say first entry short, second entry short, and it gives you a higher low. Unfortunately, this higher low is too far from the EMA for me to want to trust it. Also, the way I have it drawn here, because it has evolved, it was too far from this key entry point. So unfortunately, there was no trade here, which is to the high side. You have first entry long, technically you have a second entry long here, but as I said, I wasn't too sure. I wasn't confident in this green channel, how I had it drawn, because I left the possibility open that it was something like this, in which case it looks like it's bouncing off the midline maybe, or it's just out in the middle of nowhere. Plus there's an overshoot here. It was until prices kept moving up to here that I actually dialed in my green up channel to be touch with this early breakout here and touch here. So by the time I had this drawn, prices were already up to here, so it's too late for me to consider a trade back here. So it pushes the high side, first entry long pullback. Technically you have a second entry long here, but it's moving down to this one nice orange down channel. Break, test the low. Got a higher low here. I saw it as a visual first entry, even though technically you have a first entry here. I saw this as a count reset here. First entry, second entry, higher low, enough room to test, enough room to scalp before it hits the EMA. I was thinking break of this green up channel might want to test the high. This orange down channel is technically completed its low. This unfortunately fell short in a number of ways. It's a good signal bar, so I'll give it that, except it didn't break above this guy. And it's kind of bouncing off in the middle of nowhere. So that kind of took away from the appeal for me for that trade. Then prices continue moving. Looked like it was one leg up, pullback, second leg. Then it looked like it was another one leg up, pullback, second leg. But there is a swing low here, say first entry short, pullback. You technically have a second entry short. It is kind of a bouncing and resisting off the highs of this trading range after a failed breakout. So I thought there was a possible trade actually this candle, because on this candle, it looks like it's going to confirm. If you entered here, that's perfect. But if you weren't sure, I think you could have still also entered on this candle, because clearly prices look like they're coming back down. There's this one engulfs the previous 4 candles. Really nice close. So I thought there's a possible trade here, enough room to get to the lows, or even enough room, at least for me, for my 6-tick scalp before I run into this potential support area. So I thought it's a possible trade here. Then prices continue moving. It looks like it's just bouncing around in this range. It's a failed breakout here. It's a first entry short, second entry short. I don't like the signal bar. There's technically a lower high here, but you'd be selling into the bottom of this range. Prices reverse up on this green up channel. You technically have a first entry long, but it creates a new high. Technically, it's a first entry. You have a second entry here, but it does feel a little bit tight, a little congested. You could argue there is a potential trading range here. In which case, maybe you want to take this trade, but I didn't feel that confident in this range because it is very congested. The candles are pretty much the size of the range. So that just leaves me extra cautious. Switches up on a second leg, so first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long here, but it's inside bar. And again, when you see this in real time, things are just, again, even if you have a small range drawn here, it's just pretty much the candles are moving the entire span of the range. So when I take a trade in a range, I want to make sure the candles with respect to the size of the range aren't huge. Because if it's pretty much spanning the entire high to low and low to high, then it's hard to really find a key entry point without concern that you're going to run into the highs and lows of potential resistance and support. So this is just kind of a leave it alone area for me. It's a low. So first entry short pullback, second entry short. Unfortunately, it never broke above here, and this is a bad signal bar. But by the time this closes, this is really huge. I don't want anything to do with this. Then seeing the next subsequent candle, this big green push up, seeing this in real time is just telling me, it just throws up all kinds of caution flags. Because look at the size of this big green candle. It engulfs pretty much all of these candles previously. And even this guy is engulfing, or pretty much the size of taking up the entire moves that the previous candles were doing. So again, it just throws up red flags. Goes to the bottom, and I'm thinking I'm in a potential range right now. There's a failed breakout here, localized low. It's a first inch short pullback, second inch short. I actually thought this is a possible trade because it's one touch, two touch, three touch, triple test. Decent signal bar here. Actually, this isn't the signal bar that I liked. It was this one that I liked. Even though it's inside, it looks like it's really strong. Push back down. Break the green up channels, test the high. It looks like it's two legs up. You're clearly in a range. At least I think so. This failed breakout could have been matched with this one. Prices seem like they're flushing back down. So I thought it's a possible trade here. Triple test. Then it comes back down. It starts moving up. So it looked like it was a spike and then this red or pink up channel, but there was no clean second entries. Failed breakout on this side or an overshoot. Creates a first entry long right here. Pull back second entry long. This is second entry long. And unfortunately, although I thought there might have been a support here, it didn't feel super safe to me. So I'm looking for a higher low. And the higher low shows up here, but that's a terrible signal bar. Pushes back up. Creates a localized high. First entry long pullback, second entry long. This one, I wasn't really sure if I had a clean second. I mean, you have technically first entry, second entry, but I also saw it as a visual one leg. So I was looking for another second entry indicator. So it's like a first entry visual, second entry. Unfortunately, there's an inside bar, so I'm trying to stay disciplined and leave those alone. And it doesn't give you a higher low. Then it starts moving down. At this point, I do establish this red trend line coming down, and I created it into a channel. But again, I don't really trust this down channel all that much. Then prices continue moving. Localized highs at first entry long pullback, second entry long, then it flushes back down. It kind of crushes all the way down. It does kind of confirm this touch here, but there's really only two touches. Three touches on the high side, never really quite comes back. It's a new low, first entry short, second entry short, looking for a higher low. I wanted this signal bar to close a little bit better, but I was also aware that I am at the low of this pre-market range that I established. So, excuse me. So I wasn't really sure about that. Let's see, where was I? I think I was, let's see, broke down here, right here. Then prices move down, breaks to the low. You have localized high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long. You could maybe argue it's a triple test, but I thought it was more like a double bottom. And I was looking for ideally a higher low just to be super sure, but it never shows up. It comes back down. Then it presses up, breaks out of this channel that never colored in. Hits the localized high. It's a first entry long right here. Pull back, second entry long here. Looks like it was almost three legs up from localized low, one leg up, pull back, second leg. Here I'm expecting a move back down to maybe go back into this channel, but it never goes back down. It kind of hits here and flushes back up. So now it looks like it's one leg pullback, second leg pullback, third leg. And I'm not really sure what to do here, so I'm left it alone. Creates a first entry long pullback, second entry long is kind of outside of my pre-market range. So kind of leaving it alone, pushes up. And pretty much this is the last 30 minutes. It slows down quite a bit, but I didn't even, well, I'm definitely not going to be taking a trade here. But again, it gives me a little bit of confusion because one leg up, pull back, second leg, pull back, third leg. So it is chopping up sideways, but this is just too late in the day to try to find a trade or even try to attempt one. But I was fortunate today that I was able to get one trade, and then I identified maybe two additional setups that were, I think, possible trades. But kind of what the going rate is, especially like with yesterday, things are just choppy, and I'm slowly easing back into things to try to, well, stay buckled down and not take foolish trades or invent setups. And hopefully that just kind of keeps going and slowly build back from the red that I'm in. So hopefully that was helpful.